This guy is nuts. Is he really making daily recordings of his possible divorce and releasing it as a podcast? They both cheated on each other. She's making six figures and still doesn't contribute to any joint endeavors financially. Why is she still with him? Why is he still with her? I can't wait for the next episode. This helped me be a better wife. So this is how men think. I hate my husband less now. I understand my wife more now. These are some of the listener comments to the Divorce Diaries podcast. All over the map, I know. These anonymous accounts of events should resonate with anyone that has been married, is married, or is preparing for marriage and helps couples avoid pitfalls as they might prepare for marriage. Entire seasons are released on Patreon weeks before anywhere else at Divorce Diaries Podcast Patreon page. Link in description. Now for today's episode.
Constant reminders they're hard. We shared an entire life and 3 children with someone, and you never see them now. Because I don't see her. I don't speak to her. I don't want to. I don't desire to. In fact, to record this, I'm 4 days after Mother's Day 2022. This was the very first year I have not wished her a happy Mother's Day. Like I said before, I don't wish her anything. I don't wish her well. I don't wish her ill. But it's hard to look past and wish someone a happy Mother's Day when they have gone out of their way and tried to separate their father from their children, from his children. Something happened really bad between us. But I have to be honest, the kids didn't have to know, and like I always go back to, one of my biggest regrets was when I found out my wife was having her affair. In my rage, I took the kids and I told them we're leaving because mom has a boyfriend. I just lost so much control of myself. I lost control of my emotions, and I let that fly. They didn't need to know that. They didn't need to know that level of humanity their mom has. It's almost like once you get to a certain age, you're going to know that your parents have likely done things. There may be even things you know about, but maybe you find out about them in a different way. You won't say, oh, right, I remember when my father lost his stuff and took us from our home to go to our grandmother's house, and he yelled, we're leaving because mom has a boyfriend. I didn't have to scar them that way. I apologized to them all, not profusely. I appropriately apologized several times, probably too many at the time. This was many years ago at this point. I believe 8. At this point, it was 2016, I think. That was when she was doing her horrible stuff. But, yeah. I didn't wish her happy Mother's Day. But I have to tell you, she's the one that introduced me to country music. And, you know, when you're a husband and you're trying to be a good husband, you are gonna, hey, babe, what do you want to listen to? Oh, country. And I'm a jokester, and I always give her a hard time. Oh, of course you do. Gee whiz. I can't tell you some of the jokes that I would say because some of them will be around the race of my wife. I have a crude sense of humor. I mean, it's funny. A lot of people laugh at me and when I say things, and they're not laughing at someone. They're laughing with them as I make jokes about them. So I'm appropriately making very inappropriate jokes. So I just don't want to talk about my wife's race or nationality because I'm protecting the innocent on this podcast, as you know. But yeah, I would always give her a tough time. She had an interesting taste in movies, and I can't tell you how many Harry Potter movies I've watched. I do not like sci-fi. I do not like children's sort of sci-fi like Harry Potter was, especially at the very beginning. I have no desire to do that. I'm a grown man. I usually want to watch dark things on TV that, something like what's on right now, Ozark or Breaking Bad or The Walking Dead. I did enjoy that, but that I started to realize that it was just a soap opera, so I stopped watching that. But I stopped watching it after 8 seasons. My goodness, I mean, I gave it a long time, and just some other things came on, and The Walking Dead just sort of fell off. But what's been happening, and I don't know why my phone is doing this, but I'll toss in an earbud, and if I don't open my podcast app of choice and start a podcast, if I just hit the button, usually your device will just pick up the last thing you were playing. If it was a podcast, it'll just pick it up, especially if you didn't fully close the app. It'll just pick it up. And sometimes if it just goes to your music player of choice, it's going to play something from, excuse me, it's going to play something from your library, or it's going to play something like other things you listen to often. Mine, every time for the past 5 days that I've been pressing the button, a country music song comes on. And I really have grown to love country music, and it is definitely because of my soon-to-be ex-wife. And I think of the times that we spent holding hands, and she's sending me songs in my text. As she's going to work, she's listening to a song, and I guess she's either thinking about me or she wants me to hear it too. And either way, I'm on her mind as she's listening to this song. And I'm never going to get one of those texts again with a country song to just help me fall deeper and deeper in love with country music and remind me how deep I loved her. And I don't know what God or whoever is trying to tell me or what they're trying to do to me. But I just want you to know I get the message. I don't know what message you're trying to get me to get, but I get that there is one. Why, when I press the button, why don't I hear any hip hop? Or why don't I hear any top 100 pop? Things that I typically listen to. Smooth jazz or chill music. Why is it country? And if you know anything about country music, you know every song has a meaning. And it's usually a pretty deep one, and it's usually a very relatable one. It doesn't matter who you are. You may not relate to the bluegrass guitar that they're playing, or the banjo that they're twanging on, if that's even a word or phrase. But you can definitely relate to, I love her like I love my truck. I don't know who I love more, but you know what? I love her in my truck. Just something like that, And it's just like you're sitting there just listening to these lyrics that are so simple and plain and deep and meaningful and moving. And I miss what I thought we were. I miss what I hoped we could have been. Country music will always be something that deep down always ties me to her. And I bought tickets to a Luke Combs concert for her before everything went totally south with us. The Luke Combs concert was out of state. I bought two, and I bought them as close as I could purchase. And I was planned on going with her, and things were so bad. When I got to the bus terminal to catch the bus up to the venue, I just even thought all the way up there. I asked her a couple of weeks before. I said, hey, do you know what's happening in a couple of weeks? The Luke Combs concert's coming up. I know we are where we are, but do you want to go? And she was fast with it. No, I do not. Do not want to go. I said, I understand. It was weird. She called me the day of. As soon as my butt hit the seat on that bus, she called me. Where are you? I said, I'm on the bus. What bus? And I said, come on, you've got to know. You don't call me. We don't speak really. And you're calling me at this exact moment. So you obviously looked at the calendar and remembered that today is the day. Today's the day for what? And I said, the Luke Combs concert. She said, who are you taking? I said, no one. I'm by myself. I bought these tickets for us. I'm by myself. She said, okay, whatever. She didn't believe me, but she was also trying to start a fight. But I know that's how she shows she cares. Bad part is I just never know if she's trying to show me that she cares about me or if I don't really know what she cares about. I don't. I know that she typically seems to not feel great, be okay, be good. She's angry. She's frustrated all the time. And when she turned all of her venom toward me, that was that. I reacted poorly. I'm now reminded of her whenever I listen to country, and I melted down. I won't get into that because I've posted a YouTube video on that, and I may give away who I am and who she is, but I do miss her. And 2022 is the first year I did not say Happy Mother's Day. I don't wish that for her. I don't wish her a poor one. I don't wish her a happy one. I just do not wish her. There will be no happy birthdays. It's that, like that friend that you've fallen out with, and the air is totally clear. You know that friend hates you. They slept with your best friend. You know that you hate them because they slept with your best friend. There's no more fake before you knew about it. And it was just like kind of maybe an elephant in the room of tension. You guys still sent each other the text, made the phone call, enjoyed being in each other's company when it was mutual and necessary, but no one ever went out of their way to hang out. But now that you know, they slept with your best friend or your ex, and you know that. You're like, nah, I know July 4th is their birthday. I know it. But I'm not going to call them. I'm not going to wish them anything. I'm sure that this person used to call me, and we would plan that we're going to go out to dinner or to the club, brunch. Now we're no longer friends. I'm trying to build new relationships, forge new bonds, chart a new course, and figure my way through this world as a single man. It's okay. I will be all right. And thanks to therapy, I've looked in the rearview mirror on most of my life, and I think and I see all of the things that I'd gotten through. And it's rough getting through the first time you skin your knee, the first time you really bump your head, the first bone you break. But your second one, even though it definitely sucks, you've been through it before. You know how it goes. You know how it is. You know, everything takes time. And that's what I have now. Now that I look back, I know this is just something else. I won't make it bigger than it is. I won't think of the gray hairs that I thought we both have, the rocking chairs on the sprawling porch we'd be sitting on, the pictures along the hallway wall with our children and our grandchildren and maybe even great-grandchildren, us together, me holding her wrinkled hand and her holding mine. That dream is dead, and that's okay. But I'll build another dream, some other way, with some other people. Because we all need community and connection, and that's what I want, and that's what I'm going to have. It's okay, I've learned a lot from that relationship. I learned a lot from knowing that woman. I'm thankful to have my youngest. I'm thankful for the others, just not right now. They're pretty dark, they're pretty rough, and that's okay. I love them anyway, just from afar. And I don't wish her anything. And that's okay. That's healthy. One thing me and my therapist have talked about, as we both have become more acquainted with the DSM-9 narcissistic personality disorder traits, understanding that all signs point to my ex being a 100% narcissist. I'm sorry, let me say that medically appropriately. One that suffers from narcissistic personality disorder, because you have to check at least 5 of the 9 types to be able to be diagnosed with the personality disorder. I have been very honest with myself, and I brush up against 3 of the 9 traits lightly. And that's me stretching to think, because I really was thinking about it. And without fail, I believe it was 6 of them that my ex was very keen on. I'm like, oh yeah, that makes sense now. It makes sense. And the others she brushed up against lightly. I think there was something about like a big display of importance or something like that. And that is the one that just clearly wasn't her. There's someone else in my family. He used to own a king's throne that was in his home, and he would sit on that. And I'm like, whoa. And his home was not very good. If you're familiar with typical townhomes or row homes that are in a city, they lived in one of those, and he had this big obnoxious throne taking up most of their living room, and he sat in that. And he also had a rule that no one could sit in it. Just a very interesting man. And my soon-to-be ex-wife, she doesn't have anything like that is so in your face, big and boom. I don't know her now. I mean, she may have that, but it's probably been, it's definitely been 3 months now since I've seen her. And yeah, it's pretty crazy, but it's okay. But I'll say it here in this podcast. I hope that she did have a happy Mother's Day, because I just don't want anyone to have a bad one. I won't call her and wish her. I won't text her and wish her that. But if I were to acknowledge what's in my heart, I really do hope that she did have a happy Mother's Day. And I know it was really hard for her not having her youngest child living with her anymore. It's got to be hard on any mom. Even if you're a narcissist, you may just want your child to be with you because you want them to be with you. But still, this is her first Mother's Day without her youngest child with her. And that had to be hard on her. I mean, in 1 month, I'll be coming up on my first Father's Day, where I will only be with one of my children instead of all 3. Well, things haven't been great with my other one, so I didn't expect to see him, but my other 2, yeah, this will be my first Father's Day. Not hearing from any of them, and yeah, more birthdays are becoming, holidays, Mother's Days, Father's Days, birthdays, holidays, Mother's Days, Father's Days, birthdays, holidays. Yeah, we're no longer a family. So much hate, tension, and grudges. It's probably as toxic as it gets, minus any abuse or people in jail or murders or anything like that. But it's just emotionally really bad. I do hope she had a happy Mother's Day.
Wow. That was the Divorce Diaries podcast. The Daily Saga will continue tomorrow. The full season's episodes are on Patreon now. Subscribe for early access. Click the Patreon link in the description. Hopefully, these entries help our anonymous recorder as a form of his own personal therapy. That's his hope and his intention. Will these recordings of life's curveballs lead this family to the best resolution in the end? We'll keep listening. New episodes are released daily on all podcast players, but all episodes are available on Patreon at Divorce Diaries Podcast Patreon page. Until next time.